A few years ago, I was getting decent personal injury settlements, and I made one change to my system and it massively improved my settlements. I'm going to show you what that change was and how to use it in any accident case, and all you need are your ears. To explain this claim trick, let's look at the true story of Jose, who was riding a motorcycle down the street in South Florida. An 18-wheeler truck was coming in the opposite direction. The tractor trailer made a left-hand turn and crashed into Jose. Jose was thrown off his motorcycle and landed on his leg and his finger. He was laying on the side of the road in excruciating pain. Paramedics examined Jose and gave him morphine for his pain. They rushed him to the hospital. There, a surgeon gave Jose some bad news. He had a broken leg and a broken finger. He had a tibial plateau fracture in his leg, which is a serious break of the top of your lower leg bone. He also had a bad break to his finger. Within the next few days, the surgeon operated on both his leg and his finger. I knew that the truck's insurance company would fight this case hard. When I worked at a law firm that defended insurance companies, our goal was to use every strategy possible to poke holes in the injured person's case. Jose's case was going to be a long battle, so I hired an accident reconstructionist to go out to the scene to take measurements and photos of skid marks and the accident scene. The accident reconstructionist also inspected the tractor trailer and Jose's motorcycle. If the other vehicle had been a car and not a truck, I would have still used the accident reconstructionist. I gathered some of Jose's medical bills and had some favorable evidence to give to the truck's insurance company. So I asked the adjuster how much he'd set aside to pay Jose's case. This is called the reserve amount. The insurance company is legally required to put money in a separate bank account to pay your injury claim. The adjuster told me that a settlement reserve was $100,000. I chuckled because I knew that the adjuster was lying. There is no way that the reserve could be that low given Jose's 2 surgeries. I say this because the full settlement value of pain and suffering alone for his leg surgery was way above $100,000. And that doesn't even include the pain and suffering for his finger injury or medical bills, which further increased the full value of Jose's case. But that's just how insurance companies operate. Their goal is to make you think that your case is worth much less than it is. And they do this because it often works. Jose continued to get medical treatment for his injuries. Several months later, he had his final doctor's visit. I gathered all of Jose's medical records and bills. By this time, my accident reconstructionist had sent me a copy of his investigation file. We were ready to try to settle Jose's case. If we could settle his case before a lawsuit, it would keep my attorney's fees and costs much lower. Now the good news, I was finally ready to use one of my favorite claim tricks. Since Jose had big injuries, I was dealing with a high-level claims adjuster. This adjuster was the best of the best. High-level claims adjusters are more experienced at negotiation than lower-level adjusters. This means that they're better at convincing you to accept less money to settle your case. The adjuster finally called me and offered $165,000 to settle Jose's personal injury claim. I didn't say a word. I let there be dead silence on the phone. I'm not talking about just silence for 2 or 3 seconds. I let it be silent for 15 seconds or more. And guess what happened when I went silent for this long? The adjuster felt awkward. Heck, I felt awkward too. The adjuster started talking and he eventually caved. He told me that he had a lot more money to offer. But had I not gone silent for around 15 seconds during that phone call, I would have never gotten this valuable information from the adjuster. Now, I didn't invent this silent negotiation strategy. The #1 university in the United States, Harvard, uses it in its negotiation program. According to Harvard, many people in the US are uncomfortable with silence during negotiations. It's because in the US, we don't pause much after someone says something. Any silence feels awkward. So how do you use this technique to increase your odds at getting a much bigger settlement? As soon as possible after your accident, you or your lawyer needs to start practicing using the silence technique. This is because at some point you're going to speak with the insurance adjuster on the phone, and you'll likely be nervous when you do, especially if you haven't settled hundreds of personal injury claims before. And since you'll likely be nervous on the phone, you're more likely to have a tougher time being silent for 15 seconds. So practice being silent with your friends and family as much as you can. Jose's case is just one example where I use the silence trick to get a bigger settlement. It's worked for me in hundreds of other cases. In fact, I now use it in every accident case. Even though I used the silence tactic, Jose's case was still a battle. The insurance company fought us at every turn, but we fought back. I used the silence technique on every phone call that I had with the adjuster, and it worked like a charm. The good news is that we ultimately settled Jose's case for a whopping $445,000, and the best part was that Jose was thrilled. I was only able to get this $445,000 settlement because I used an even more powerful trick that you should use in your accident case. And I found that most accident victims don't even know it. To find out what this tactic is, watch the video that's on screen now or click on the link in the description below. And if you've been seriously injured in Florida or on a cruise and someone else is at fault, click the link in the description below to see if I could be the lawyer for you.